Hey everyone, this is a preview of what we're going to build in this video. It's a kind of CRM where we can have accounts. I can enter new accounts from here, from the Qlik interface. This is stored in Postgres. I have some tables, and to create the structure of these tables, I use Claude to help me and just speed up the process. Everything that I do in here is replicated or changing the database. I can have dropdowns. I can have rules that will lock the fields if I do something. And the idea is that you can replace some systems that are like just too complex or not very well adopted or accepted by the users. And you can adapt to your business according to your own rules. I have here a list of accounts. I have a list of opportunities. This is all dummy data. I'm still testing some things. It's not the final project. It's just so you can understand what we are doing. I have here the list of items that we will have in the item list. And here in the account, the opportunities and quotes are created on the account level. And you can see that here I have 3. I can click here. It will take me to the next page, filtering this account. And here I have the list of opportunities. I can create new ones, assign to new people, and check the items in here. So let's say that here we'll have an implementation service or with 2 days or whatever it is, I don't know. And it will automatically calculate the values and store them in the database. There is still another part that I need to create, which is the analytics dashboards and all the other KPI stuff. But this is just the data entry or data editing part. Everything's connected to my tables in here. And then I will, at some point, I will also connect some AI agent to talk to these tables and just bring some insights, doing some embeddings, and so we can have notes, intelligent notes to just extract some insights. But this is the main idea of what we are going to build in this video. Well, I'm starting with Postgres, and I was using Claude to find what's the best structure in terms of tables and connections and all of that. So that's what I was doing. And by default, we also have some key fields that are used in Inphinity. So every time we change something in Qlik using Inphinity, we always capture who changed what and when. So we need these fields here. That's why you'll see that my tables will always have key, change date, change it by, and things like that. And I will just have to modify this because my key field will actually be my ID. So I don't really need 2 things in here. I'll just ask it to change it. But this is a structure of the tables. We'll have accounts, contacts, opportunities, quotes, a list of items and prices and all of that, and also users. Okay, and of course we can change this, but this is the first idea, the first prototype. I just want to run it and start creating some stuff. So let me just quickly change this and tell it to remove the key fields, remove. And in the meantime, let me tell you how I deploy things. So I use Railway because it's very easy to just deploy databases and other things. So I created a Postgres database here. I have all the connection part in here, and then I use pgadmin to connect to it and run the queries. So I don't have any table in this one here right now, and I'll just basically copy and paste the code that will come from Claude. I do understand what is in here. It's just like it would take much longer for me to write it from zero. So I'll just copy and run it there. All right, so I don't have any tables right now. When I run it, now I can refresh and I can see my tables. Okay, that's the first part. This is good. Now, second step is to go to Qlik, and I might ask it to populate with some dummy customer. so I can start testing it. But I'll now go to my Qlik app where I have my Inphinity admin. And this is the Forms admin app where we manage connections, instances. And first, I will create a connection to this database that we just created. Server address, database name. So we just put all these things in here, credentials. The test was successful, which means it's working. And now I can start to create instances that will talk to these tables. Okay. Now in this app, I have two options to load the data from these tables. I can either connect via Postgres or just use the instance reference that we'll create here. Now I'll first create some structure to just have some dummy customer. I asked Claude to create a dummy customer, and here we have the code. So it should be good to just copy and paste. So let's open again the query tool, paste it in here, run it, and we should be able to start testing it. Let's see. Now going back here, I will connect to these tables. So going to forms configuration. This is where we test our things, one of our environments. And here the type will be form general. I'll include a note CRM accounts because I will now look at this accounts table. In storage, instead of Infinity managed, we'll use SQL database, use existing data source, select the one that we just created. And here the table name is accounts. In column, the key column is ID. And I forgot to check the change log because actually right now I don't have a change log enabled because by default, if I have accounts and accounts underscore changelog, it will always store the history of my changes. But let's just leave it as it is for now. I can connect this instance here, clicking here in this pen icon, create a REST connection to this point here, to this REST connection URL. So let's do that here in my personal space. Just look for a REST connector. First, paste the URL, and then scrolling down, I need to include headers. It will be authorization, bearer, plus an API token that we'll create here. And this will be our CRM accounts table. Now I should be able to pull data from it and also modify it using Inphinity. Here's the key field. I have two customers. One is Acme Solutions and the other is TechStart. Two dummy customers. I might change that key because it looks too large. Like we don't really need this to be the key. It could be this instead. But since I already started the video, let's just leave it as it is, and then we can come back later. I'll load this, and we should be able to see the changes and the data in our app. I've got two rows. Let's go to the dashboard part. I don't like this default theme, so I'll change it here from Sense Horizon to Sense Classic. And in the filter pane, we have, let's see, two companies. I want to see the name. Company ID. Maybe this will be the key. It will be easier to reference it. Forms general. And then we connect to the data using the ID of that instance, which in this case, it's this one here. So I can copy this, go to form configuration, paste it in here. And my key field, as we saw, is this one here. And I can start to include the editable fields. There's an issue with this type of character. So actually, it will be better if I just change here in the connection the key field to company ID. This field here, yeah, I think that will be better. I will use the company ID as the key field. And it's not working. So I can start to include the other fields, like, let's see here. I have name, type, email, phone. If I include these fields here, they will be editable. So if I change them here, they will also be updated in my actual database. And all the others. So I will start from here, and I'll come back later to show you some other updates. As you saw, we have multiple tables, and I'm creating connections to each one of them. So Inphinity can talk to them, and we can pull data from these tables, we can modify them, and this is where the magic begins, because we are inside Qlik. These are the objects. They are Inphinity objects, but they are like, we use the Qlik dimensions, and it's basically, as we say, native, because it feels like Qlik. It uses Qlik expressions. What I have to change is just the editable fields, so the fields that I have in the actual table. Like in this one, it's the items table, and I have the name of the item, the type of the item, description. And for now, I use it just basic types of fields, but I will start to change that. So in this example here in accounts, we have partner and customer. So instead of a plain text like this, I will change this field to a drop down, which is the select box. And I will include here the two options, which are partner or customer. But I'll make it pretty, like this is just an example so you can understand what I'm doing. And then when the user clicks here, he or she will be able to select from here. And you probably will ask yourself, but how can I add more customers, and how will populate this? So everything starts with the account, right? And I will have to enable here the add row button. And when I click here, I will be able to enter a new customer, a new account. I have two options. I can let Forms create an ID for me automatically, and I can't see that until I reload in the app. Or I can just include here an action to automatically create a sequence every time I enter a new row. One example is, let me create an action that is activated when a row is added. And then here I go to add action. Then the action would be set cell value, because then I can define the value of any cell in the object. The column would be account ID, but to do this, I actually need to go to form configuration, advanced settings, and remove this auto generate key. Going back to the action, configure. Now I can see account ID. If I type manually here number 10, just for this example, when I click here, it will automatically fill in number 10 here in account ID, which is not what we want. But what I can do is do a max of and ignore all selections, bring the account ID here, plus, could be +1, but if I add multiple rows, I will have 3 all the time, which is not what we want. Inphinity has an expression to identify the index of the rows, and I can include that here. So this would be $row dot underscore added row index, like this. And now I should be able to include as many customers as I want without being, now it will automatically populate a sequence of numbers. So it's up to you, or we can just create a trigger in the database that will automatically populate it. So I don't know what works best for your case, but I will still define what I'll do in here. For now, let's just add a new customer so you can see this in action. Let's call this ABCDE. And this is active. This is a customer. And there is no partner. And I'll just leave this for now. So when I click save, it will ask me to reload the app, which will start to do it. There's a problem here. Let me check. Apparently, the values cannot be null. So let me just do it again, and I'll just fill in anything in these other columns. The problem was this key field here. That is just like, it's not actually a key field, but it's just something that we created. I had manually, for some reason, it was set to non-new, but still it's here. Now for these customers, I can start to create the contacts and all these other things. So now I have this account ID number 3, and we can start to work on top of that. There's no contacts, no opportunities, no quotes. And by adding this add row button in each one of these forms, I will be able to start creating things for these customers, right? So account ID here in this case, I will automatically set to the account selected, and we'll start to design a system inside Qlik. Now I have the account ID here as the starting point. Then I'll be able to create the contact and all the other things. Hey guys, it's another day, and I will now continue the development. I loaded all these tables in the app. My main table is accounts, and here is where we have the account ID. Every account will have a link to the interactions where we can save, like if we had a chat, a call with a customer or something like that. This is by account. We also have the contacts of each account, and then we will have the contact ID. Each account also has opportunities, and these opportunities can be converted into quotes. Each opportunity also has this link here with the list of another table where we have the items listed in these opportunity. And when converted into a quote, this quote also has another table very similar where we also have the items in that quote. Just quickly showing you the script. I use it the kind of a bridge for Inphinity because we can connect to the instances. I could connect directly to Postgres, but I decided to use just the Inphinity bridge where I can point, like I have all my connections here created. These are the instances that we use to write from the dashboard. I'll show you in a second, but here I have the accounts table, the contacts, items. I renamed some fields because I want to avoid synthetic keys and circular references, things like that. But if I go to the dashboard, I created the objects. My next step now will be to start modifying the values or the types of fields in Inphinity. Each one of them is connected to my tables through the form instance ID. So if I look at this one here, opportunity items, and if I go to form configuration, this 6AF1, I can find it here, 6AF1, it's the opportunity items. Each one of them is linked to a table in that database, and I can change everything from here. Now I will modify the type of the fields. As you saw before, I think I already mentioned previously that I can change here the type to a select box, like make it a drop-down list and some other things. So this is what I'll start to do now, and also hide some fields and create some actions. Because one example, when I have, let's say I want to include here a new contact for the specific account, I can include a button under appearance to add a new row. But when I add a new row, I want this account ID to be pre-filled with whatever I selected. And for this, I will use actions that can be hidden if I want. So every time I add a row, this action will be triggered. So row added is the type of activation. Then I can go to configure action, include it here, and then I will set the cell value. I can specify what's the value, what's the cell, account ID, and the value, which will be account ID, that will be selected. Like now, it's not gonna, if I just include it now, it's not gonna work because I don't have, like I have multiple possible selections. But if I select only one, like number 2 here, it's already here on the top of my filter. If I include a new row, it will automatically, oh, 1 second, it's still processing everything. I think my connection is down. I refresh the page and it should be fine now. If I add a new row, it will get the selection that I have here and populate that field. I can add here more rows, and then that's what I will do. This form here, for example, we need to have one account selected, so we'll only have one account here to be filled in the cell, and this account ID will be hidden. So these are the things that I will start to do to hide some fields, to just make it pretty and make it more functional. I have here this hide column button, and then no one will be able to see it. And then I will start to save these objects into master items and really create the flow of the system, of the dashboard. I will now pause the video, work on this, and come back in some seconds. I'm going back on my decision of including actions when I add new roles, because if I have 2 users at the same time or a very similar time, and they do not do any reloads, if both of them add a new row, they will have the same number, and I don't want that. This couldn't happen. So to avoid this, I will go to Form Configuration, Advanced Settings, and enable the Auto Generate key. With this, every time I add a new row, I will have a unique ID here that will be automatically assigned, which is not this number here. This is because I had that action before. But this will prevent this kind of 2 users at the same time kind of problem. Okay, so this will be enabled, and then the sequence I'll figure out later. I can use the change date or some other kind of logic, but this is what we'll go with. Another interesting thing to mention is that we can have the value and the label as 2 different things in these drop downs. See that I have here active, inactive, and prospect, and this little emoji. I can set this up in the option of the form field, and we have here first the value that is saved in the database and an equal sign to separate the label. So this is the label, what the user actually sees, and what is actually saved. And this is much better because same thing here for country. I have in the database, I have US, AR, and just 2 letters for each country instead of the entire name. But here the user will see the name. And I'm using here in this case, if I go to country, more options, I have country code equals country. So the user will see the label, but what is actually saved is the code. This is another important step that I need to share with you. I already changed some things here, and each opportunity will have a value assigned to it according to the items described. We have a list of items, and each item has the unit price. Based on this, I have the opportunity list of items. Like each opportunity will have a list of items which are here, so I can choose them from here. And I have some fields with quantity, unit price, that should be referred, like we should use this reference here from this table, and amount. To calculate this, I'm using the auto-calculate functionality that we have. Unit price is auto-calculate, and I'm using this formula. I can bring the unit price value from the data model and use a set analysis that will look at the row that I have. This is a reference for what is selected in forms, even without reloading the app. So just to show you, if I change this value here, instead of enterprise license that is 1,200, if I change this to professional license, it's now 600. And implementation 4.5. It's important to use this auto calculate, and I will use it again now in amount. I'll go to amount, more options, auto calculate, and create a calculation here that will just multiply quantity times price minus discount, and we'll have here the amount of this opportunity for this specific item. Let me show you step by step. Quantity, to refer to quantity as this form field, I can click here under column order, copy the formula reference, and I will first open parentheses, paste this part here. So it's quantity times unit price right here. Close parentheses, minus, actually the price is for the discount is for the unit. So I'll just do the minus inside this part here. And I'll have to make it very clear that this is for each item. Let me look at the expression again. So this parenthesis here, I think now it will probably make sense. Let's look at this. Yeah, this looks good. So unit price minus $10, so it's 1,190 times 10, which is the quantity. We have 11.9. If I change the quantity to 5, it will automatically calculate again and just change the value. So it's an important point to calculate things here, and this will be stored in the database just like what we see here. Another important thing that I will do now is to create buttons. Each opportunity will have a list of items. And I want to have something in here to just click and have a pop-up to display this order form. To do this, first I need to include this into a master item. And I will show you now as like a draft. But this is item number 1. Now in my opportunity, I can create here an action button. So it's an action sequence. By default, we have it as toolbar button, but I want it as a row button. And the name of this button will be items. Now, in form configuration, together with my list of fields, I can include a new field, and the type is action button. The column name doesn't really matter because we are not gonna save anything in here. I can just call it button or something like that. And the label doesn't have to be visible, so I just include normally a blank space. Action sequence is items. So when we click on this button, you will see now that it's listed here. I can bring it to the other, like maybe to the second position or something here after the title or after stage. Here I have it. We can customize it a bit more if we want, like the styling, put it in the center, change the width a little. And the action is configured here. Under items, when I click on this button, I want to do what? So I want to display a master item. That's what we have here in the action list. And I can choose from the list of master items. Now, referring to number 1, I can change the size of this master item. I can check the preview, so it's too small. Let's increase the width. Now it looks better, and maybe just decrease the height a little. When I click on this button now, this is what we will see. I will still change here, hide some things, hide the opportunity ID, and these other columns. But this is how we can do it. Now I'm starting to design the experience of the user, and I created another sheet to display the accounts table. And from here, I will create an action button to select the account and go to the next sheet where we'll have this specific account filtered, and we'll be able to change and edit, see the opportunities related to that. One important thing is that if I copy this specific object, I can go to the next sheet and convert it into a single record form. And what's the difference? The difference is that it will display only all the same records, but for only one row. And the layout is quite different. It could be much better depending on what you need. So I'll just convert this one here, like this, convert to forms single record. Now I have more than one possible selection. I can go back, select from the ID or from the name. Let me select this one, go back to the other sheet. And this is the forms single record. So all the fields that I had before, they are also here, but we can change the design. And what I want to do here is to leave everything on the left side, change a little some things. For example, the name, the label, I can change to the label position and put it on the top like this. Then status, I can also change it and put it on the top, make it 50% instead of 100, or even less than that, maybe 33, and share the same space or the same row with type. Make it 33 too, and label on the top. And same thing here with maybe partner or some other field. I've just created this field here called lock, and also in the database. This is a checkbox, and if this is equals to 1, I will lock all the fields in this account, opportunities and all the other things. There are two ways to do that. We'll use this edit mode, and if I want to click here and even without any reload, lock the fields in the table, I can use the form field expression and make reference of this field in the others. But in this case, I will want to lock everything, also opportunities, contacts that are in other tables. And to do this, I am loading this field in the data model. Now, when I click here and recalculate, in type, just to show you as an example, I will go to more options. It's now reloading, and the edit mode will be if account locked. I forgot to change the name here. If account locked is equals to 1, which it is, because it's checked, 0, which is 0 read only. So this is now read only. Otherwise, 1. I will do the same for all the other fields, and then when the manager or whoever it is checks this box and reloads the app, other users won't be able to change anything in the fields. Now, after some fine-tuning, this is what we have. So the account list with an action button that when I click on this, it will filter the account and take me to the next sheet where I have some containers. The first one has interactions. So I can add an interaction here. Let's say that I had a call with someone, then I can write some notes, say when this happened and so on. I can list the opportunities, create new opportunities for the staff, assign items to these opportunities, and then we'll have the amount calculated accordingly. And I also included another part, which is right here. And this is a single record form. It's just a different kind of object, but the idea is the same. And every week I can enter notes, just pure text with rich text, like some formatting with bold and some other stuff. But basically the idea is to have a pure text field where I can just write down anything that I did or I worked on in that week. Well, that's it for this video. If you like this kind of content, don't forget to hit the like button, subscribe to the channel, and check my other videos here. They are also quite interesting. If you need something like this, feel free to contact me and add me on LinkedIn. That's where I see most messages. And that's it. See you in the next one.